Hello, and welcome to the Beaver News. I'm Conrad Cartmell.
And I'm Dana Delgado. We're glad you could join us this evening. This past week, you may have noticed a large red tent in the quad meant to look like a barn. That tent was part of PETA 2's Glass Walls campaign intended to draw attention to animal cruelty. The Beaver News team got curious, so Hayden and I went out to see what the story was.
This is PETA 2. They're a college version of the typical PETA, and they come to campus with this exhibit. It's Glass Walls. It's basically if slaughterhouses and factory farms had glass walls, this is what you would see. Mostly just to be more aware about the choices you make every day and what you're really contributing to. Because every day you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and what you're contributing to makes a big difference. So creating demand in the right places is probably the best.
Interesting, thing, so I wanted to check it out, and then I thought it was pretty informative. I didn't really know they did that kind of stuff and the animals and stuff like that. Kind of changed my view a little bit. I might eat meat cut off maybe a day or two a week, something like that. Less animal products, I don't know.
I mean, it does kind of make you want to do something, but then again, once you leave, you want to go grab a hamburger sort of thing. So I guess I personally wasn't very affected very much by it.
Okay. It makes me want to think more about it. I probably wouldn't change my behavior just because growing up on it, it's just what I've been, doing my whole life, and I enjoy doing it. And so I think it just makes me maybe want to look into it a little bit more and see. But I firmly believe the way I've been living and doing all my stuff has been the correct way.
Regardless of whether you're a meat eater or not, it's always good to keep in mind. Coming up after the break, hear what workers and students really think about the construction on campus.
Welcome back to the show. Now, we are all aware of the multiple construction sites around campus, but have you ever thought about the projects from the perspective of a worker? We sent Marvin Lewis out to talk to the people who are hard at work improving Oregon State.
Construction is a huge problem on campus for everybody right now, as there seems to be construction on every street corner around campus. We met with a couple of the construction workers and got their insight on the job they're doing and the reactions they've gotten from people on campus.
This is the Student Experience Center, and it's going pretty good. I mean, it's coming right on schedule.
You'll have a bigger meeting place for one, and from what I hear, Snell's kind of needs an update, and so your craft area and your radio station will all have new.
Well, I've had a few students come up to me and say thank you for being here, protecting us from the cars and stuff. But it's not usually the students, it's the ones that I can't let through, because these streets are restricted for vendors only, and so you get a bunch of people wanting to come up here and go through, especially with all the other road construction. We have to make them go around.
We've had students come by and tell us what a good job we're doing and thank us for helping them get across, and just kind of keep an eye.
Driving is very difficult. There are many detours that you must take around campus, and it has been very hectic and inconvenient.
It's hard for us, even that are working out here. I mean, to get to work, to find parking, and I feel bad for people that are just either coming to tour the school, or you got parents that come and see you, and there's a lot of roads that are closed, and so it makes it very difficult to get through.
This is Marvin Lewis with the Beaver News.
So we all know what the construction workers have to say about the projects, but what do students think about them? Dana and I headed out to the quad to find out.
Construction here on campus is a hot topic at OSU right now. Conrad and I are out here in the quad asking students their opinions of it.
It doesn't affect my daily life too much because it doesn't affect how I get from one place to another.
Getting around, especially driving, can be a bit of an inconvenience.
My main problem with it is parking-wise and getting to the parking lot because it's blocking that main street right there.
I find myself a bit late on occasion, and it kind of sucks.
It's pretty inconvenient. I feel like it takes up a lot of parking spots, especially by Sackett
I'm actually in the dorm, so like my window's like right across from some of the construction. It does wake me up at 7:30 every morning.
It's kind of inconvenient to have to go around sometimes.
I know it's kind of had a bottleneck effect on the traffic.
Well, I mean, I drive a lot, so it really does inconvenience us.
It's really annoying because I use that street a lot when I try to drive down to get up out of campus.
It hasn't caused any problems for me specifically.
The business building, I feel like, isn't so bad. Sometimes it's kind of loud by the quad. It's a huge inconvenience.
And then as far as like traffic goes, it's a bummer because I never really know what roads can be closed down.
It'll be nice in the end.
When the buildings are done, it'll be beneficial, but while it's happening, it's noisy and in the way. But
it will be really cool when they're all finished, so I mean, next year it'll be
Hopefully
awesome.
they finish.
I like it because, I mean, it shows that they're working to improve the campus.
I feel like it's gonna look nice once it's all done.
I was thinking they could like space it out or something, because right now I can barely even drive around campus.
Well, maybe not quite so early in the morning sometimes.
I don't know, maybe do them like one at a time instead of everything at once.
There's plenty of other times that they could be doing this during the term.
during the summertime.
And do more of it in the summer.
Yeah, definitely a different time, at least like during the summer.
Just be faster.
This one is slow going.
I just hope that that all the construction really enriches the overall atmosphere of the university.
So it looks like there are a lot of different opinions on construction at OSU. We'll see you back in the studio in a second. I'm Conrad Cartmell.
And I'm Dana Delgado. Greek life is a long-running tradition here at OSU, but a couple new houses are trying to make a name for themselves. Here are Stephanie Paul and Madeline Lee with the scoop.
Oregon State is 14% Greek, with 11 sororities and 19 fraternities.
This week, we learned how 2 Greek chapters at Oregon State recolonized and brought a new Greek name to campus.
AOPI was here 20 years ago, and headquarters felt that it would be a perfect opportunity for AOPI to come back to Oregon State. So that's why we're back now.
We're here from 1928 to 1992, and then with the push of one of the legacies and then the alumni, we basically came back to campus. We got chartered last May. It took us about a year. Recruitment, had to get to a certain number, had to get some requirements done for nationals, and then had to go through some things to join IFC.
It's a long process to recolonize a chapter. It took a lot of work from the women from our headquarters and help from our alumni because they volunteered as our advisors.
Our nationals, we had to meet the average size for a chapter at OSU. For IFC, it was pretty much just a process of going to them and requesting to get added. It was a little easier for us because we were a chapter here in the past.
Our challenges being a new chapter on campus is just getting the hang of things, and we've gotten a lot of support from the Greek community, which has been awesome. I think the hardest part is just knowing what to do and where to go from where we're at right now. Because I mean, we're just learning, and Panhellenic has given us a lot of help, so.
A lot of it is just getting information out there. A lot of the other houses have these built-in information systems. We kind of had to build everything from start. We really have to push everything we do because it's not like a known annual thing. But there's also some pretty nice advantages to that. A lot of the support that we get comes from our alumni, which is great. Even though the chapter wasn't here for about 20 years, we still get a ton of support from them, and right now we're actually having a really big push to try to get a house. Other funding, obviously brothers pay dues, but we try to keep that really low. That's one of our kind of selling points. We also get a lot of support from nationals. They actually have an ELI, which is an educational leadership instructor, out here, full-time works for us, which has been great.
Our alumni has helped us a lot. They've helped us with getting our initiation stuff, but headquarters has also helped us. They've given us so many opportunities to do things, but Oregon State as well has helped us.
One of the reasons that we decided to come back, even though there's already a lot of houses here, is we felt a need that wasn't really being fulfilled. A lot of our guys say that they weren't really thinking about joining a Greek house when they first joined, and so we kind of try to break some of those stereotypes that already exist with the other houses and with Greek life in general. And a lot of us found a place that we could come in and make a difference and kind of build something that we were proud of.
I think AOPI came back to Oregon State because just to give the Greek life more of a rounded perspective, I guess. It's just something new, and I think a lot of people were looking for just a little refresher to the Greek system.
So the future for KDR, I think, looks really bright. We're having continual growth. We're slowly getting more involved in community service, philanthropy, and we're getting more tight with the administration now, getting involved on campus, and so I really feel good about where we're going. I think it could grow to be one of the bigger houses, and honestly, I feel like we can do something that not a lot of the other ones can because we're new and because we have this new focus.
I think we will continue to grow as a chapter and get stronger as a chapter, and I think we're doing really well participating in other chapters' philanthropies and meeting other Greek organizations, and so I think we can only get stronger and better.
This has been Madeline Lee and Stephanie Paul with KBVR News.
Thanks, Stephanie and Madeline. It's always good to hear about new groups making a name for themselves.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to use a wheelchair to get around? There was a fundraiser on the quad this week that taught people just what using a wheelchair entails. Greg Germano has the story.
The Pre-Therapy and Allied Health Club presented their annual wheelathon in the quad.
So our event today is our annual wheelathon fundraiser. We use it to raise money for the Multiple Sclerosis Program and the IMPACT Program, which exercises with students with disabilities. Fundraiser itself raises awareness for the disabilities as well as funds for the programs.
Through this activity, students were able to see what a glimpse of life is like in a wheelchair.
And they did this wheelchair obstacle race, just doing daily activities like opening doors and packing a backpack in wheelchairs.
This is Greg Germano with the Beaver News.
That seems like a really admirable cause. Coming up after the break, are you a big fan of eating out? Javier Sanchez and Leah Williams profiled a new restaurant for us. Find out about it right when we come back.
We see restaurants all over Monroe, but there is one that isn't quite so obvious. Reporter Javier Sanchez and Leah Williams give us a taste.
Today we're here to talk to an OSU student about his new business endeavor as he opens up his new restaurant, the #1 Hot Pot, that's located in the gym building right off Monroe.
We do the traditional Chinese dishes and hot pot. We've been open for 6 months. Yeah. Major customers are Chinese students on campus, and we are getting more and more American customers recently because people hear us from the miles to miles, and we don't have so much choices over there, especially in Corvallis. So I just want to open somewhere to give those Chinese people a place to eat, and including myself. Our meat is freshly cutted and freshly seasoned, so just really fun of having a restaurant over there. Well, we have both Chinese specialty dishes and Americanized specialty dishes. If you love American Chinese food, General Tso chicken is our #1 dishes. And if you prefer to have more authentic Chinese dishes, our braised pork. Yeah, I'm doing another project. It's going to be a bar in Portland area, but it's not officially announced.
And thank you for joining us today at the Hot Pot. For KBVR, this is Leah and Javier.
Javier.
Thanks, Leah and Javier. You can never know about too many good restaurants.
So we've got you guys all caught up on what's going on out in the world, but what about what's happening between the walls of OSU student media? We've got Max Bettendorf here to show us around.
Thank you. You're too kind. No you. No you. Welcome back to your favorite show on the news. The one that reminds you all that KBVR really cares about you. They truly do. And how do they do that, you might ask? Well, because they work their tail off, getting you, the viewers, all of these incredible shows. Shows like Beaver Sports Show, Glimpses, How We Did It, In the Pines, 88.7, KBVR FM, Locals Live, Split Screen, and so many more. You all know the show by now. From gaming on the couch to head-banging local music, this is The Recap. Yeah, you know it. Let's get this party started. Starting off the lineup this week, standing in at nearly 15 minutes in length, is the Beaver Sports Show, premiering their 4th show in the series right after the completion of the news. So you better stick around if you want to know what's happening with your Beaver Sports. How We Did It is currently working on their next show, which is actually going to be a bit different from what we're all used to. In this episode, the crew decided to take the song, The Upside of Feeling Down, by a real horror show and made their own special music video. I can't wait to see how that turns out, and I won't need to wait too long because this creation is set to release next Friday, May 23rd. Be sure to catch that on KBVR Channel 26. A new band is being followed by our In the Pines group. The group named That Coyote recently played a gig down in a local station, and KBVR's very own In the Pines was there to catch them in action and build their next show off of just how good these guys really are. Be sure to check out the music for yourself next Thursday when this will all be airing. In other music recapping, we have the Locals Live, who are going to be recording the new band named Edouard. That special episode will not actually be airing for a couple of weeks, but if you are really wanting to get your Locals Live fill, there's always last week's episode featuring Archer's Rise, an incredible local band that piqued my own interest. Check it all out on KBVR's YouTube page and take in what they're all dishing out. Wow, it's quite a musical episode, huh? On 88.7 KBVR FM, DJ Nathan Myers had a live band on the air with him. His Saturday show last week was filled with the musical stylings of a band, Patrimony. And I have a quick recording here for you to enjoy, courtesy of Nathan Myers himself.
You are listening to KBVR 88.7 Corvallis. My name is DJ Nathan Mayers. Today in the studio we have Patrimony live out of Studio 3. They're going to be doing some new tunes, some old tunes. Here they are. Here's Patrimony.
Oh, wait until you find the other door that's been singing at you since the other day. Won't you wait until you stop to mop the floor? I'm singing la-da-da-da, la-da-da-da-da.
If you want to hear more from DJ Nathan Myers, you can listen in on 88.7 KBVR FM every Saturday from 3 to 4. Split Screen is back again this week with everything video games, focusing more on local gaming and featuring the Wii U on the couch, as well as Gang Beasts on the PC. Wednesday's episode was one of the greats. Luckily, for those who are unlucky enough to have missed it, you can now watch all of the button mashing for yourselves on KBVR's YouTube page. If you've been keeping up with the show, you may remember from episode 1 how I mentioned that Glimpses was in a long process of working on their first show of the series, a mockumentary. Well, it has finally come out. Thank you. In this mockumentary, we get an inside look at what the production of Glimpses used to be like in their earlier and more struggle-ridden days.
Cut! Why do we have horses on set?
Because it's in the script. If you
It's
would
not-
read it, you always change it.
This long-awaited episode was released and aired May 5th and is currently up and available for all to see on YouTube. Be sure to check that out, as well as all the other KBVR TV productions. Also, be sure to tune into this segment, The Recap, every Thursday to keep up to date on everything that KBVR is doing week by week. And with that, the recap is over, and I'm sending this one back to the station. My name is Maxwell Bettendorf, and I'll be seeing you next week. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, you're all too kind, especially you. No, you.
Well, it's always a whirlwind of activity here at Student Media. Have you ever wanted to step inside the world of entertainment? We'll give you an inside look after the break. Welcome back to the show. Thanks for staying with us.
For all you theater lovers out there, Julius Caesar auditions were this week. Julia Cameron has the inside look.
Auditions were held this week in Withicombe Hall for the summer production of Julius Caesar.
Thou mayest live, if not, the fates with traitors do contrive, do conspire.
We started with monologue, except we did it as a group. I asked in the production sheet, the announcement for the auditions, that people bring a 1-minute monologue, and they could read it. I was more interested in hearing how they read verse than struggling to memorize the words. So most people brought a monologue. I also had a couple available from the script. A Brutus monologue, the famous Mark Antony, Friends, Romans, and Countrymen was there. So if they didn't bring one, they could read from that. And it gave me a sense of how they could handle Shakespeare. Then we just used selections from the play, and I mixed up the actors and the characters to see how they handled specific roles and then how they matched up with each other. I always like to do group auditions. I don't like solo auditions. They don't do anything for me. I like to see how people interact with each other up on the stage, and it's also really valuable since it's an educational environment. It's really valuable for the students to see how other people are auditioning for the roles. Sometimes it's really helpful. It's also very relaxing. Everybody realizes, hey, all these other people are in the same boat. Excellent turnout. I was hoping for 15 to 18 people, and we cast 15 people. So that's what I needed, and everybody is terrific. The hardest part was trying to figure out where they all fit.
I come here often. This is where I live, just because this is where most of my major classes are held. So I'm able to see the signs, and not to mention all my teachers and professors are just, come try out for Julius Caesar. And this is the first one I've actually tried out audition for as an actor. I was in multiple roles in high school, but I just never had the time to really audition, and now I have the time, so I figured might as well. I think you can always improve, and it's a cold reading, so I don't think that I did the most amazing I'm ever going to do, just because it is a cold reading, but I'm confident that I did fairly well.
I actually go to Western Oregon, not OSU, but I grew up in Corvallis. I've been doing Bard in the Quad almost since its start, eons and eons ago, back with Scott Palmer, when he did like Romeo and Juliet and Midsummer and Much Ado About Nothing. I was in those, and I've kind of just kept going ever since. I saw George just out of the blue. I saw him in Boise, which was really random, and he mentioned the audition to me because I had been in Taming the Shrew, which he directed also, and he mentioned he was going to be doing Caesar. He mentioned he was going to be doing it gender blind, and I found that really, really exciting because, I mean, so many of Shakespeare's great roles are men's roles, and while there is a lot more gender swapping than there was previously in the world, it's still not incredibly common. So when as an actress you find an opportunity to work on something like this, like one of the big men's speeches that you don't necessarily get to touch otherwise, it's so exciting.
Julius Caesar will be performed August 7th through the 17th.
Thank you, Julia. Make sure to look for the play later this year.
So we've had a really great run of weather this week. What does the weekend have in store? We've got Connell Gree here to answer that very question.
Hey Beaver Nation, it's Connell Greer again. Hopefully you enjoyed the sun. I certainly did. Unfortunately, for both you and me, the rain is returning this weekend. In Corvallis, it's going to be mid-60s, slight chances of rain, going to increase as the weekend goes on. That's a bummer. So here's your Oregon travel forecasts for the weekend. Newport is going to rain and stick to the 50s. Here's hoping for a break in the cycle. Portland and Salem are going to be raining and 60s all weekend. Across the Cascade, Bend is going to have slight showers, low 60s, and chances of thunderstorms as the weekend moves on. Roseburg is going to stay cool and mostly dry with weekend chances of showers in low 60s. Back in Corvallis for week 8, it's going to be muggy. High 70s, high humidity with all that rain from the weekend. It's not going to be that great, but it's better than 89 and blistering sun. Even though I love the sunshine, that was just a little too much for me. But as always, keeping the comfortable sunshine in here, I'm Connell Greer. Back to you in the studio.
So it looks like the weather's going to cool off a little bit, but we'll try to make the best of it. Well, that's all the time we have for you tonight. I'm Conrad Cartmell.
And I'm Dana Delgado. For more of your Beaver news, be sure to watch us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram and Twitter @Beaver News. Thank you, and we'll see you next week.